Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Coding by Heart. In this video, we will learn Docker commands, Docker pull, run, rename, logs, and stats. So let's start. So in last video, we have installed Docker on Linux environment. So first of all, we will check Docker version. So you need to fire one query docker -v. So we are using Docker version 20.10.9. For example, if you want to check version of Docker, so you can use command like docker -version. Though this command also gives same output. Okay. So now we will check Docker is running or not. Okay. So first of all, we clear this screen and then check Docker is running or not. Service docker status. Okay, so this command you need to use service docker status. So currently Docker is running, Docker service is running on 1499 user bean docker d is a docker daemon and docker container. Okay, so Docker is running. Now we will check different command. Okay, so one by one. So first of all, we need one Docker image, right? So we need to pull that Docker image from repo. So command for that is like docker pull which image you want. So write that image name. I want a Tomcat image. Tomcat. Which version you want? So for example, if you want to specific version, provide that version name, or if you want to latest, just put that image name and press enter button using default tag latest. Oh, okay, so now these are fetching latest image. It will go repo and it will be accessed from that if it is not present in local. Now that image are pulling from central repo. Okay, so now image is successfully pulled. We will check. Now successfully image is pulled. Now we will perform different operation. Now we will check how many images is there. Docker image ls. If you want to check list of images, you need to put docker image ls command. Okay, docker image ls. Then for example, if you want to inspect that image, so we need to check what is there in that image. So you need to inspect that thing. So docker, then you need to fire next query docker image. Which image you want to inspect docker image inspect. I want to inspect Tomcat. Which tag? Latest. Okay, we will maximize little bit and then we will go to maximum. Okay, so you have executed docker image, then inspect. Which image inspect? You need to provide that name. So Tomcat. If Tomcat version different is there, so you need to put that tag name. Now one Tomcat image is there, so you need to provide latest. For example, you want to inspect 8.5, then 8.5 tag name is different, so you need to provide that tag name. Docker image inspect Tomcat latest. So what is there in that? So ID is there, that particular image, then repo tags like a Tomcat latest, so this tag is coming from that location. Then digest SHA 256, then host name, domain name. After that OpenJDK, which version they are using OpenJDK, then Java home, then Java version is 11.0.13. After that, there which command they are using, cmd, then volumes, image, working directory, author, docker version, which docker version, then everything is there in that. Okay, OS architecture is AMD 64, OS is Linux, size of that docker image, rootfs, layers. Okay, everything is there about that image. If you want to inspect that image, you need to execute this command, docker image inspect, and that image name. Now we will clear that terminal. Now we will execute next command. Which command? For example, if you want to run docker container, so static version of container is like image. Whenever you are running that image, dynamic version is container. Then you want to run that image, so you need to execute one command, docker run -d. So what is -d? -d is detached version. It will run background. We will check both detached version also and interactive version, but first of all we will check detached version. Docker run -d tomcat. Which latest? Okay, so docker run command executed successfully. So we need to confirm our docker container is running or not. So you need to execute one command, docker ps. So this container is running. Okay, container running, which image? Tomcat latest, Catalina sh, and when is created 22 seconds ago. Okay, after that we will check how it will be work with interactive version. Okay, so we will run one image with interactive version. So we will execute tomcat image, docker run -it. -it means interactive. Interactive means whenever this image will be run, container will become, you are directly communicated with that container files, or you are directly communicated interacted with that container. So we will check docker run -it. Then you need to provide image name, tomcat. Which image? Tomcat. After that you need to execute on that terminal. So tomcat is using which terminal, which shell? Like you can put as bash command prompt. So okay, previously you have executed, then you will get one particular ID, right? That container ID. But now you have executed with interaction mode, you are not received that, right? Because this is detached mode. Your container ID is created, but you have put bash command, so directly you have interacted with that container. Now you are there in that container. Now we want to check what is there in that container. You need to push ls-ltr. So what is there in that folder? Work folder is there, web apps there, logs, configuration, whatever is there in Tomcat, they are showing everything. Okay, so now you want to come out into this container, so you need to press Ctrl PQ. Okay, now you come out that container. Now you want to check how many containers running. Previously we have executed two commands, like one is detach mode and another one is interactive mode. So you need to execute docker ps running container. So there are two containers running. This is running on command bash. Okay, so now and export port is 8080, but if you focus on that name is different something, you have not provided any name, right? So now if you want to change your name, like change different name, so you need to execute one command, docker Then which operation you perform? Rename. Then which name you want to change? I want to change this name. Okay, so Julos Goldstein. And which name I want to provide? I want to provide any name. I will provide Ravi. Now rename is successfully. Now you want to check rename. Okay, so just execute this command docker ps. Now previously the name Julos Goldstein, now Ravi. So you are successfully renamed. Now one task for you, you can rename this one. Okay, so you have understood rename command, docker rename, and you need to provide name and which name you want to that name. Okay, so rename is successfully. Now we need to check containers. For example, running container, you need to fire docker ps command. This is two containers running, but you want to check all containers, those are not running. So, and running container also, you want to check running container and non-running container also. You need to execute docker ps -a all. Then you can check this is running, this is not running. Okay, existed, and this 2 is off. So if you want to check all container, then you need to execute docker ps -a. Okay, remember this command, docker ps -a. So we need to check running container, docker ps. Now you want to interact with that container. Previously you have interacted with that image. Now we want to interact with that container. So docker, then container, which operation you want to perform with container? I want to inspect that container. So docker container inspect. Which container I want to inspect? So I want to inspect this container. So I want to provide container ID 3B40C3500CD8. So I have provided that container ID. I want to inspect docker container inspect and that container ID. Okay, I have inspected that container. Then we will check what is there in that container. So most of this query is executed. Then that container ID, if you check this container ID, they are taking first few letters. When this container is created, then metadata about that container is created and that times. Okay, then path bash states this container is running, yes, running, true, pause, false, restart, false. Okay, on which PID? They are running on PID 4609. Started at image. They are using which image? Resolve conf path, host path, host config. Everything is there. Isolation, memory swap, read only path, name, overlay, which volume or network they are using, like overlay to config, host name, path. Everything is there. Whatever you want, everything is there, but you need to inspect that thing. They are using IP address and gateway and all these things. If you want to take all information out of this, you can inspect that container. Now you want to check logs of that particular container, right? You want to check logs. So docker is the main command. After that, which operation you want to perform? I want to perform log. I want to check log, then log. Then I want to check log of which container? I want to check log of this container. I want to check log of this container. I will copy and I will just paste. I want to check logs of this container. Log is not docker command. Okay, command is like docker logs, and you need to provide logs. You need to provide that container ID, docker logs container ID. Then now we are able to see logs. Okay, you are able to see all this log, on which port number they are using, their startup and millisecond, all these things. So you need to execute this command, but you want to follow that, right? So first of all we clear, and then we will follow. We know how to follow that docker logs hyphen hyphen follow, and you need to provide that container id. Now I am providing different container id. So container id like this. So now they are taking running logs. Yeah, so control C. Now we have see docker pool, docker ps means you want to check running container on all containers, rename, then container inspect. Now you need to check stats, means how many memory they are consuming, network consuming, all this information about that container. So docker, you need to execute docker stats, stats. So it will be get dynamic data. This is container. There are two containers running. A name, if you remember Ravi, you have provided. They are using how many CPU? They are using 0.24% CPU. Then memory uses, limit, then memory percentage, network input output, block, PID, everything about that. And this is updated. If you think this one is, then they have provided again updated information. If you go little bit below, they are providing dynamic. Okay, they are not store any on any file or any machine. They are executing dynamically. You are getting this data dynamically. So for example, if you want to check your container using how many percent of CPU, how many memory, they are providing all this data in there. Ravi are using 0.37%. Now next they are using 26. This is dynamic data. Hope you will get some good information out of this video. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel, and thank you. We will meet in next video. Bye bye.